looking beyond the wall. You are looking beyond the wall. I mean, AI and all the emerging technologies are bringing lots of uncertainties, but also opportunities. But you don't want to be stagnant. You want to look beyond the wall, right? So I want to commend you for this program. Thank you.
Very much, Prof. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let me just give you something that you can actually munch on. So we've been talking about harnessing AI in recruitment, people operations for greater speed and efficiency. So coming from the academia perspective, how best do you think we can also use AI to do what we've mentioned earlier?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm coming from academia, but I also run MData Consult. I'm sure there are a good number of you here that I have trained you in HR analytics. So this is not new to me. Well, I would like us to have a contest, right? Which contest is that maybe if I begin mentioning, one technology or the other, we'll be all over the place. So we have to have a framework, and the framework will be the employee life cycle itself, right? So that we can appreciate recruitment in the life cycle and why this is important. So, right, not long ago, if you want to begin the cycle will begin with recruitment, right? But now we say, okay, let us even begin with attraction, which is asking very relevant questions. How are you positioning yourself attractive out there, to candidates, to applicants, and so on and so forth. But let's focus on recruitment, right? If recruitment is beginning, from where I come from, I'm sure all of you took computing 101 somewhere, isn't it? We will see garbage in, garbage out. So recruitment obviously is very, very important. You do not want to miss that opportunity. You want to ensure that you get the right material in. But that does not mean you have to overly slow the system or slow the process, right? The AI and these emerging technologies are here to speed up work. It is not all of the phases and the processes that you want to do, manually or put human beings in there to do. So what am I saying? Particularly in the public sector, we can have ready use of AI, right? I'm sure all of us, when we cast our minds to, I think, few blocks from here in the Independence Square, every year we would assemble graduates in their numbers, tens of thousands. All of them will come from their various towns and villages to converge at the Independence Square, and you can see the humiliation, right? I think that the tech community, when you see such things, you wonder, we have the solutions. So why can't government use such solutions? So to train somebody in the tertiary level and humiliate the person, right, in such manner, that's unacceptable. Because we can simply have CV, right, what you call auto screening services or tools. There are in tens out there. All you need to do is to know the criteria you want to use for the selection. Experience, a particular job, maybe even discriminatory gender, something. You feed this into the system, and the system will do the selection for you. So for big place of the public sector where we are looking at, maybe it's immigration or police, you are hiring in the thousands. You don't have to humiliate them the way we tend to. So that's obviously one of it, where we can automate this and ensure that AI is able to sift through, filter through the thousands of applications, and then shortlist. Maybe when you are looking at a few, 5, 10, then we can say, let's sit down and then do proper interview. So that is one way that we can insert AI and some of these emerging technologies into recruitment. Maybe the second would be using chatbots. I think chatbots is becoming a buzzword all around. So it's becoming a buzzword. Everywhere you turn to, there's one chatbot or the other, right? Some of them are not so intelligent anyway, but we still use them. They are AI systems. So as we feed them with more queries, more data, they would become intelligent. So we can use chatbot also, right, to respond to applicant queries. Again, if it is immigration, if it is police, you don't want one person responding to phone calls. I mean, you will break down, right? So you can have chatbots take on some of these, including scheduling interviews and responding to, some queries, right? So we can use AI in some of these ways in recruitment. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I want to give a general question to all of you. If you can help us understand in your practice, if I start from the academia, we are talking about AI, but when students use AI to do assignments, lecturers are offended. Because we are talking about greater speed. So if you have given me an assignment, it is due 11:59 p.m., and I go into AI, and I use AI to do the assignments, lecturers, or some lecturers are offended. Let me not stereotype. So help us understand to everyone, please, in your practice. So, Prof, you take from the academic or academia perspective, and then two, you mentioned you also consult. Can you walk us through a successful implementation of AI in your practice?
Okay.
And what made it work? What didn't help it work? A successful implementation, a practical one for that matter.
So it's a good question. You put me on the spot, isn't it? Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that our students are not using them. If they are not using them, that in itself would be, what do you call it? A slap in our faces. So they should be using them. Except that they
so,
have
Prof,
to.
you are saying they should be using them?
Yes. So I'm a very progressive around these things.
Okay.
Right? So around some institutions actually have policies, right? AI policies for submitting assignment. So me as an academic, for example, when submitting manuscript for publications, there are some journals that would ask you whether or not you use AI. So using AI in itself, it is not wrong. You would have to imbibe and internalize the concept. You have to understand it yourself. So you don't go, copy and come and paste. When I ask you, the next day you have family. You have no idea, right? We are saying use it, but understand. Maybe you had 2 points. You went there and AI gave you deeper insights, gave you additional 3 points. Try to understand those additional 3 points, right, before you submit it to the lecturer. But often what we see is that this individual submits, but you bump into the person in the classroom and you're asking the same question and the person has no idea, all right? I'm saying we'll have to use it in the right sense. Those of you who are familiar with language services, right? They have always been there. You are not a native speaker. So you wrote something yourself, except that the grammar and all these things are horrible and you need help. ChatGPT is a text generation, platform. It will help you to polish it. It doesn't mean that AI started everything, or ChatGPT or DeepSeek started everything. You can speak to this yourself if somebody were to ask you about what you have written. So that's the long.
So that's from the academic or the academia perspective,
yes.
And then the corporate world, a successful implementation of AI, and then
so
Mr. Norte will take over.
Well, so in the corporate world where this is in production, we are actually using it, we would have to be very, very careful that we are dealing with human beings. There are persons in your database, maybe employees or customers, but they are human beings, right? So you have to be very careful when particularly you are looking at automated decisions, right? How explainable is the decision that the algorithm has churned out? If we can't explain it, then there's no point using it. I hope you understand. So for HR leaders, what I would say is that ask the tough questions. I mean, all around the world, what is in vogue now is AI audit. AI audit. When we get to what you call the general intelligence, auditing will become the everything. After AI has churned out the result, can we have individuals who will step in and audit to find out what
I'm quite interested in the point that Prof made. So, I mean, part of our work also extends into education. And, you know, we work with children. And so what we have done is that we built a set of tools, robotic tools, as well as, you know, AI tools that, you know, we believe that we need to be able to like inculcate this skill into these children very early. So currently we have a program, you know, we piloted it in schools and it's been hugely successful, where we are teaching children from as early as 3 years. We are beginning to expose them to the intricacies of robotics, AI, and, you know, emerging technologies, and that has been really amazing. And I can tell you, I mean, some people sometimes look at this, the use of AI, or such as ChatGPT, as somehow going to make you lazy. It all depends on, you know, how you apply it. But I can tell you that, I mean, in our curriculum, we're teaching 6-year-olds, in fact, start from 5-year-olds, you know, how to use these tools, okay, and teaching them things like prompt engineering and all of that. The exposure is very good. Much as we want to, you know, catch up with the rest of the world, in China, Japan, and all these advanced countries, what they do is that they introduce the children at a very early age. And so by the time they, you know, grow up to a certain stage, they're not just going to become like users of the AI, but they're also, you know, becoming creators. Okay, they're becoming innovators. And I believe that goes a long way to, you know, help us. Now, in the workplace, I think we still have to encourage, you know, widely the use of AI. So for us, as a tech company, we actually depend heavily on AI for a lot of things that we do, from writing softwares, you know, to automating, you know, certain tasks. So obviously, I mean, you can also take out the fact that people, I mean, if you're not that good, if your head is not good, I mean, AI won't be that good. Okay, so this also comes to the point where people now have to be, you know, intelligent themselves to be able to, you know, prompt very intelligent questions for them to get very good feedback. So I think that would be the contribution I would make.
So people should be intelligent. There are times I'll see some memes on social media where someone will be sending the reports and then AI will click it. Let's know if you have any questions. And the guy will send the same thing to his supervisor. So we are saying people must be intelligent. So I should delete that place real quick before my boss will find out that I use AI. All right, good. So Mrs. Wotumi, successful implementation of AI in the KGO group or any company you know?
Okay, thank you so much. If you will kindly indulge me, for all of us in this room, can we see by show of hands any of us who have applied for a job online and never heard back from the potential employer? Any of us ever? Let's see. Oh, don't be shy. Any of us applied for a job online and never heard back? Great. Okay, and thank you. And for all of us who are HR professionals here, ever had or placed a job ad and you have hundreds of CVs and you're recruiting for just one person? Can we see by hands? You see, so yeah, that's the paradox basically. There are lots of talent out there, but some of our dilemmas is finding the right fit. And I remember back in my days at Mary Soaps, I recruited for an admin executive. Now, I got over 1,200 CVs, and I needed just one person. That recruitment literally took me about 6 months because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Not too much, a little bit. So I had to go through 3 various interviews to actually find the person that I needed. And she was the right fit for the job. But it took me close to 6 months. And this is something that AI could have assisted to easily get done within a matter of weeks instead of the 6 months period. Now, practically, I think about a month ago, I needed to reproduce a document and do an analysis. I have been operating as an HR for 1 until recently when I had a team member joining. I didn't know what to do. So I called my front desk executive. I said, "Are you up for a challenge?" She said, "Yes." "Okay, I'll teach you something, use it. I need this done by 30 minutes. Can you do it?" She said, "Okay." So I gave her the document. I said, "Go use your phone to take a screenshot of all the pages, number them. When you finish, go here, ChatGPT. Post all the pictures that you have pasted. Ask ChatGPT to extract the text and put in this command for the analysis." She was back in 30 minutes and told me, "HR, I have sent the document to you." And I asked her, "How do you feel?" She said, "I'm excited. I learned something new today." That could have taken me a week. HR can leverage AI in so many ways, from recruitment to candidate satisfaction, engagement, through to having trend analysis, providing scientific data to the cases that we make for business objectives to be met. So there's no limit to what we can harness using AI. However, I'll just add to what my fellow panelists have said. You need to be able to vet the data set that you feed into HR. Again, quoting from my fellow panelists, garbage in, garbage out. You need to know what you're looking for and the outcome that you intend to derive. And AI can be your very amplified support in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You want to add a few words?
Yeah, so I add something quick. So in engaging with a lot of you HR professionals, I'm getting this. You know, it is a running theme. You are all excited about AI and all the emerging technologies that are coming along with it. Except that I don't think that you are fully prepared for it. Okay, so my brother here will tell you, AI, at the heart of it is data. You go back and you ask yourself, you don't even have data. Your employee data is all over the place, right? It is all disjointed, not connected well. You are not going to be able to frame a good story out of that, right? Let alone trying to feed this into some AI system. So it starts from somewhere. Have the data, be conscious about collecting the data. Ask questions. What kind of data can I have? Currently, what do I have? You need to take inventory of what you have and what you do not have, right? And if you probably want to use the framework, the employee life cycle can guide you. Do I have data on attraction? Do I have data on recruitment? Do I have data on onboarding? Do I have data on development, training, performance? All of that through exit. And all the things in between. You have to start from somewhere. Other than that, you will just be talking about AI, and it will never be AI for you. So that's what I wanted to add. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Let me also just add that, AI is really not just about ChatGPT. I know many people have limited the whole conversation of AI to ChatGPT. It goes way beyond that. And particularly, on this same point of data, we have to, as organizations, begin to, look at how we organize the data. The data is very important. You have to find a way of storing, keeping, any kind of data that, comes across in your operation. Because eventually, these days, we used to say that, oil was a big thing. Now it's actually data. The company that will survive the next decade, essentially is a company that keeps data. If you're running a business and you're not keeping data, you're not keeping very good track of your data, then I can assure you, I'm not a prophet of doom, but you're going to be in serious trouble sometime soon. So please, you've got to take this data thing seriously.
So it's about data. My final set of questions, it will be a dichotomous question. So the topic is harnessing tech and AI in recruitment and people operations for greater speed, precision, and impact. So the final question would be, you mentioned some of us are just enthused about AI. HRs are enthused, but we don't really have what it takes to welcome the whole AI revolution. So how can HRs build a business case for their employers, for them to invest in AI? Because I'm employed to come and solve a particular problem. So if the same problem, AI can do it faster, why should I even keep you in my company? And then secondly, talking about impact as part of our topic, what are some of the clear KPIs you can indicate to ensure that whatever we are doing, we'll be able to measure it? Because if we can't measure it, we can't control or even improve upon it. So 2 questions in one, building a business case and also the KPIs that can help us in the successful implementation of AI. So a general question to all of us, and then we'll take your final words and then we call it a wrap.
Okay, so building a use case. Well, use case literally means you have a use case. You have, what do you call, a use for it, isn't it? What I would say is that maybe you look at it this way. Start by piloting something, right? You can start looking at the pain points in your people operations as well as the leveraging point. So maybe over the past, say 5 years, if you have been looking at your data, you realize that maybe retention rate keeps going down. 4 years ago, it was 90%, you loved it. The year after, it dropped to 86%, and it keeps dropping. It's a pain point, right? The flip side of it will be turnover. So whether turnover or retention, if it's turnover, it's a pain point. It's something undesirable. You don't want it. So because this is happening and you are seeing a trend, it's a use case for you to find out whether or not AI, when inserted properly, right, into your system, can help you get some impact. So an example would be, I think most of us are familiar with applicant tracking systems. They've been around since maybe 10 years ago, applicant tracking systems. If you applied a job to maybe Nestle and some of these multinational companies back in the days, right? You realize that as soon as you load in your applicant tracking systems, they've been around since maybe 10 years ago, applicant tracking systems. If you apply the job to recruitment, have a profile. And how do you do that? You step into your historical data, which is why I talked about data. If you are collecting the data well and storing it well, it would, it will be handy at some point. So if I have a 10-year historical data and I fed this into the applicant tracking system, what it's going to do for me is that I'm not only using the applicant tracking system to recruit, but it is also giving me, a view into everyone's performance. If at the end you would go, even when they say for the applicant tracking system embedded with AI says this candidate will leave, will not perform, and will not grow. It's a scorecard, right? It's up to you to decide whether to still go ahead and recruit that person. Let's say you recruit the person. Now you know that judging from the past, all the things that happened in the past, those who left, right? This person is going to maybe, potentially leave. So then you have a plan for this person. Because you know the person is likely to leave. What do I do? How do I incentivize everything around the person, motivate to ensure that if this person is highly competent, but right, is likely to leave as the model says, how do I keep the person like that? All right, so there's so many ways. So here we are looking at not only speed, you are seeing precision, and you are also seeing impact right there. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
Oh, hello? Okay. So you mentioned pilot study, you mentioned the predictive model, and this data. Mr. Norton, before you come in, the owner of this car, GM 406314, please move to the car park as soon as possible. GM 406314. Kindly move to the car park as soon as possible. GM 406314. Thank you very much. Mr. Norton, over to you.
Yes, I think Prof has, said everything. And I just want to say that, the U.S. Navy SEAL, they have a motto. It says that, in God we trust, or else we track. So it's important, it all
Please say
comes
that
back
again. In God we trust.
In God we trust, or else we track.
Oh,
okay, so it's important we track everything, okay? And, the data, once again, is going to play a very pivotal role, just like the examples that was given. So that, we can see into the future. Once you have very accurate data, you are keeping data, you can always, predict. You don't want to, get a shock of your life. You want to see what is going to, happen. And if you're keeping these data in place, in future, you can actually, feed it into an AI, and it's going to direct you on what to do.
Thank you. In God we trust, or else